how are we going to instill this change in America? How are we going to put tolerance, essentially freedom, back in America? Because in our actuality, when you see someone walking down the street, holding hands, showing public affection, but they're two men, and you know this goes against your religious convictions, this goes against your core values, and it bugs every bone in your body, what do you do? What do you do when you see that person light that flag on fire and every bone in your body aches? What do? You be tolerant of it. You allow it. This does not physically harm you. This does not interfere with your individual rights and liberties. It does not interfere with your individual privileges. You tolerate it. Then you can say that you are an American. What do? Well, we have to educate. We have to educate people and let them know that in fact religious tolerance is important. In fact, separation of church and state is important because it allows everyone to have liberties, to have freedom, to have privileges, and for people to be protected from other people's convictions, other people's beliefs. It is the only way to truly live in harmony. We have to educate people on these matters. We have to show them that the violence in this world, that the chaos in this nation will not end until we can unite behind the issue of separation of church and state and its dire importance. So, what else do we need to do besides an education? We got to start putting some restraints in place. You have to stop these government officials. You have to stop these politicians from going to Washington, from going to state capitals, from going to councils, inserting laws, inserting codes, inserting regulations that are bigotry, that are based off of religious and cultural convictions, that are unjust in the sense that by allowing such actions would not physically harm you, would not interfere with anyone else's individual rights, individual liberties, or privileges. We have to make it so that certain rights, certain liberties, certain freedoms cannot be legislated on, cannot be jeopardized. Freedoms such as people having essential things to live. Freedom for people to have the right to be educated and thus not to be legislated on. Freedom for people to be able to marry whoever and thus to not be legislated on. Freedom for a person to be treated just as fairly and just as equally as anyone else and thus not be regulated on. No, you cannot take someone's right away to get married. No, you cannot take someone's right away for education. No, you cannot take someone's right away to pursue stem cell research, to pursue other medical breakthroughs, cloning, because there may be a religious objection. No, you cannot force a woman to bear children because your religion teaches them that it is wrong. We have to start adding these type of restrictions. We have to start educating our people that by, in fact, inserting religious laws, we are going against the very fabric of this nation. this is how we're going to turn this nation around. But even this will not solve all of the issues. One of our biggest issues that is faced by mankind is the issue of what's next. If we continue to let religion do this, what's next? We continue to let religion destroy us and be bigotry and hatred and prejudice. What's next? The answer to that is beginning to be more and more clear. Destruction. The complete destruction of mankind. So, the next thing we must do to save America and to save mankind is we have to start educating people on the dangers of religion and of the origins and purpose of religion from the very beginning, and how it is not a necessity and is not a valid source of education, of reason, of progress in today's times, nor will it ever be in future times. But this is not going to be easy. People are not going to give up their religion that quickly. No, believe me, they're not going to do it, because they have been raised with this religion. This religion, such as Christianity, has existed for over 2 millennia. So they're not going to give this up easily. But we don't have the time to stroke them and to slowly transform them. No. We don't have the time. So what are we to do? We are to be blunt. We are to be forceful. We are to educate these people on their ignorance, on their bigotry, and on how those things will not be tolerated. They decide to continue on in their religion, which most likely they will. We must strictly enforce that when, if their religion does in fact begin to interfere with other people's individual liberties, individual rights, individual privileges, and physically harm other people, and take away the people's choice to deny religion, then they must be charged with a crime. They must be charged with a crime. It is the only way to get the message across that intolerance, that forcing religion down someone's throat will not be tolerated, and then hopefully by educating the youth, that majority of them will go away from the path of ignorance, from the path of religion, and go toward the path of reason, of logic, of free thinking. And eventually religion will die out, allowing mankind to evolve further and further, if we hope to survive as a species. This is a necessity. There are going to be many religious people out there that are not going to like my policy, are not going to like my stance on this, on the need to phase religion out. I understand this, and I know this sounds like a contradiction toward tolerance, but knowing that I'm not being intolerant toward religion, I'm being intolerant toward the negative effects of religion. And at the end of the day, if that means that I must be harsher on religious people who force their convictions on others and who believe that it is their duty to spread their convictions to others, it is something that I am willing to do. Peace.